my first Rhinebeck experience. The good, the bad, and the rainy. It's unfortunate how the vendors and attendees experienced woolen folk. I bought the most expensive thing I have ever purchased at a yarn festival of any kind. I hope in the sunlight you can see the sparkle. There was a siren song to this yarn. Put it in the cart. Hey y'all, my name is Akia. I am the creative essence behind Dr. Charlie Untangled. I am a maker, a knit and crochet wear designer, and a biomedical engineering PhD. And I hail from the south side of Chicago. Welcome to the show. We all made it, all right? Amen. We all made it here. Today's episode is gonna be a recap of my first Rhinebeck experience. The good, the bad, and the rainy, okay? We're gonna go through all the things. So how this is gonna work is I'm going to explain a little bit about where exactly I went and show you some footage of some of the things that I captured and witnessed while I was there, and then come back and show you some of the goodies that I got. I'm just gonna jump right in. So this was my first Rhinebeck, so I wasn't sure how it went. Now, I went with a group of girls that our beautiful Rhinebeck relationship actually started back at Stitch Up of this year, hosted by Michelle Costa. So at Stitch Up this year, I met Jamie of M1 Yarns, Natalie of Detroit Knots, and many other people. But in our Rhinebeck group was also Nadia, Christine, Jamie, Natalie, Nadia, Christine, and Terry. Oh my gosh, how did I forget Terry? I got all of it this time. Sorry guys, I love you all. So we all decided to go together and stay in a house together. So a lot of the things you're gonna see is me with them. And so the plan was to go to a couple of the events that happen on Friday and then go to Rhinebeck that happens Saturday and Sunday. So the events we went to on Friday were CAKEpalooza, which is fun to say, and Woolen Folk. Yes, that Woolen Folk, and we'll get into it. But then on Saturday and Sunday, we went to New York Sheep and Wool, which is also called Rhinebeck, in Rhinebeck, New York, for both days.
Okay, so I'm officially headed to the airport for my first Rhinebeck, and gotta wake it up, but we're on our way.
Okay, taking a video. We're all here, sort of. We got the first batch. So what are we doing, guys? We're waiting on Terry.
We are the Uber.
Nope, it's not Terry. Ah! Terry, you made it! Ah! So let's start with cake. The smallest event, but the cutest one. I loved cake so much. There were lots of things to see, lots of yarn, lots of people to meet, lots of really cool, like intimate conversations to have, and, you know, yarny friends to make along the way. Okay, so now let's talk about what I got from Cake. Now, at first I was a little overwhelmed. At first I was a lot overwhelmed, and this is the smallest of the events, and I was overwhelmed. So the first thing that got me to open my purse strings was, I love a good bag. If anyone knows anything about me, I love a good bag. It doesn't take much after that for the credit card to be smoking, okay? So I found a vendor called Tanny Casey. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But I saw this bag. Now, just take a look around. If you can't tell, I like monsteras. I like greenery, and this has all the things. My favorite color, again, if you can't tell, is green and brown and some golds, but mostly green. And so I saw this bag and immediately fell in love. And then I learned that there were cute little tiny zipper versions of these bags. So obviously I had to get both. And then since I was there, I decided that, you know, I'm probably gonna need a bag to carry all of my things. Fast forward, I ended up having to buy a suitcase to get all of my yarn and things home, but we'll get to that later. But I saw this giant, beautiful, canvas, gorgeous number. And it is, again, brown. It's part of my aesthetic, and I needed to have it. And so I bought this bag to put my other bags in and put all the yarn I was gonna buy in it. And that actually turned out to be a good idea, because let me show you what I got next. So one of my main goals for the whole festival at any of the tiny ones or, you know, New York Sheep and Wool was to find tomato soup colored yarn. Now, Emily from High Fiber Knits in the High Fiber Knits podcast talked about how she and a friend started a tomato soup core knit along or make along, and I was not able to participate, but I watched from the sidelines with envy. Okay, so I've never owned La Bien Aimée yarn for whatever reason. I've just never gotten around to purchasing any, and I came upon the Forever Yarn vendor. I think her name is Yan or Yan, and she was selling a lot of beautiful La Bien Aimée yarn, including Winsley worsted. Now just take a look at this beautiful, oh, look at the sun rays coming in. Take a look at this beautiful yarn. It's just gorgeous. It's the perfect tomato orangey color. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna make with it, but I got sweater quantity just in case. I also came upon the wonderful folks at Urban Girl Yarns and found this beautiful yarn called Habanero Pepper is the colorway. And it's a fingering weight yarn, merino superwash blend, superwash nylon blend. Look at this, look how gorgeous this is, beautiful. And then I walked by this yarn a couple times because the yarn at Wool and Vinyl was just, you know, talking to me from across the room. And I was trying to keep it cute, like, no, I don't need to get anything from there. But then my friend pointed out this beautiful yarn. I love a golden, ochre-y, almost orangey, browny kind of color. It's my jam. But this one has the most beautiful like green speckles in it. I don't know if you can see that, but these speckles are everything. And again, I love green, so this is definitely my jam. Had a great time at Cake. Okay, so let's move on to Woolen Folk. Now, this was my first time participating in any of the events in the Rhinebeck area. And so I was not sure what to expect from Woolen Folk. I know there's lots happening now about, you know, the experience of the vendors and attendees alike. And, you know, my only comment will be that it's unfortunate how the vendors and attendees experienced Woolen Folk. I still had an excellent time. I met wonderful people and got some really great goodies, but I did notice a couple of things here and there about, you know, the setup and how one is able to access certain things and the whole 5th floor that literally no one knew about. But again, I didn't know what to expect. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is what type of time they be on over here at Woolen Folk. I don't know. But in spite of that, I still had a wonderful time and I met some great folks and got some good stuff. So let me show you a little bit of that.
I don't know where everybody else is, but
we're all here hanging out. Just look at mama, look at mama, look at fabulous. Say hi. Wait, do a spin. Do a spin for the people. Oh, it's beautiful. Is this a bug right now? Wasting my good tissue. What was I saying? Oh yes, yarn. I was able to meet Ashley in the yarn fairies over down at the Sorella Yarn, and most of my stash is Sorella Yarn. I'm definitely at least paying a light bill over there because I have all the things. But particularly this colorway called Newsprint I bought from the original launch of the Autumn in New York collection, but I didn't get quite enough for a sweater quantity that I need. So I picked up 2 of these and they're beautiful, and I can't wait to make this up into something really pretty and really special. Okay, and then from the Yarnaceous fibers that was housed in the same tent as the Fangirl fibers, and I think some other third thing, I got these cuties. I'm not quite sure what to do with them, but I love the fluff. These are super soft and fluffy, and it's not mohair, it's merino and cashmere, and they're the softest things that I've ever felt. So I had to get these. I found this beautiful yarn by the wonderful women at Supernova Dye Works, and this particular colorway is called Grody to the Max, which is hilarious. Their whole thing is like naming everything after memes, and I love it. But this particular colorway, I hope in the sunlight you can see the sparkles. Clearly this is my color aesthetic, and the sparkles called my name across the room in the rain. Like, this was made for me. And this colorway is in, I saw it in other bases, but I loved it in the super bulky sparkle. It just was beautifully, beautifully dyed. So this is probably my favorite get from Woolen Folk. Oh, I think it's time to play a game of Is It Caked? Where the answer is always yes, all the time. I am a notorious project starter, and part of that means that I'm always caking up yarn to start something that I have no business starting. And today, that is this Grody to the Max. Look how beautifully this caked up. Like, what? Are you serious? Look at this cake. Look how beautifully these colors have come out. Okay, and we're gonna move to a cake that I already have started in a project. Now this project is an adaptation of the Sunday shrug that I am kind of making like the cinch shrug by Jackie Rose. She made both of these patterns, and the feedback I keep seeing is that for girls with, you know, wider shoulders and bigger busts, president of that club, that the shrug doesn't sit over the shoulders in the same way. And so my goal was to kind of add some shaping over the shoulders, and hopefully it sits beautifully when I try it on. Now this is just some Wool Ease Thick and Quick, the like oatmeal or fisherman color that I've added, that I'll add to the tips. And just look at how beautifully this is working up. Like, I can't. It's just the best. So I cannot wait to finish this. I started this yesterday. Also, it's featuring the most gorgeous stitch markers from Bingo Fibers back when she was on Etsy. So yeah, very excited about this, and hopefully we'll finish this up soon. So next is the main event, New York Sheep and Wool. Now, it was very rainy the entire weekend, which is partly what contributed to the foolishness everywhere else, but definitely at New York Sheep and Wool, it was rainy and parking in the mud was fun. Glad I wore my docks the whole time because, girl, the mud, she was here, she was there, she was everywhere, and still cleaning them off my shoes. But you know, besides the rain, it was perfect sweater weather. It was perfect sweater weather, so saw beautiful sweaters of all kinds, and you know, all the things. So my approach to New York Sheep and Wool was not so much to look for specific vendors, but really to get a sense of what kind of yarn and fiber and makes and arts and trinkets and things that were just available at a sheep and wool festival. I had never been to one, and so I was very curious like what that meant besides just like stalls and stalls of people selling yarn, which there were, but there was lots of other things to get excited about as well. So let's see some of that.
Made it. It's squishy.
We made it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the yarn that I got. I was on a mission. I didn't mention this before, but I was on a mission to patronize all of the Black makers, dyers, vendors that I could find, and, you know, try to get something from all of those folks, because I personally, one of my personal missions is to support Black-owned businesses and, you know, to show that support to my community. So I did want to mention who was either selling yarn by Black-owned dyers or were themselves Black-owned businesses. So before at Cake, Urban Girl Yarns, this is a Black-owned business, and they make beautiful yarn. Also, rewinding back to Woolen Folk, I, at Magpie Fibers, bought yarn from Lola Bean that I gave to my friend. She asked me to buy her some stuff for her birthday, and I put that reel on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely go give me a follow so you can see all the yarny things that I'm up to. It gets very exciting in there. Okay, back to New York Sheeping Wool. Let's talk about the yarn that I got. So I went to Miss Babs for the first time. I didn't know this wonderful woman existed and that she made this beautiful giant skeins of yarn called Yowza, which I feel like is hella appropriate for the sheer size. I got 3 of these, and this is a sweater quantity. This is called Antique Brass. It's very much like on brand with my skin tone, but I feel like if I could make something that could go over like a vest or a slip over that can go over black or white, I think it would go better to like not make me look like I'm walking around naked. But I love this color. It's just beautiful, and it's like elegant and like better than you. I don't know why, it just is. So got Antique Brass from Miss Babs. I was too late for the Lola Bean colorway that Adela does for her philanthropic ventures. Was too late for that, but I did go to CC's Wool and buy some other things. So this is the CC's Wool colorway that was in collaboration with Going Gnome, which is totally adorable. I saw this worked up and just I knew I needed it. It's like a moody greeny kind of, but it's got pinks and all kinds of other things in there. Like I love a strong staple color that also has some speckles of some other things in there to like add some interest when you get up close. At CC's Wool, they were also selling Serendipitous Wool by Shoba, who is one of the co-founders of Radical Threads. Definitely check it out if you haven't. This yarn is just beautiful. I love this color scheme. I love everything about this color scheme. The greens, obviously, the pinks, all of the browns, and all the subtle little things. I can't wait to carry this with like a cream colored mohair or something, or maybe like a DK cream color to just add some life and oomph to a really neutral base. Because I don't know what I would make with this by itself, but I feel like this would add such life to a different project with a more neutral base. So I was very excited to get my hands on some of this yarn because I haven't had a chance to try out Shoba's yarn before. So very excited about that. So I had the opportunity of visiting the wonderful, beautiful, incomparable yarn at Neighborhood Fiber Co., run by Karita and team. And just look at this gorgeous yarn. It's beautiful. So this one is called Bolton Hill, and this one is called Edgewood. And I'm gonna make Natalie of Detroit Knots her Flip Dana Tunisian crochet pattern with this one, these two. And this yarn was so graciously gifted by Karita and team, and I'm so excited to use this and show what I'm gonna make with this. I think it's gonna turn out beautifully. Be on the lookout for that. Ooh, I am breaking a sweat over here. Next, we have to talk about the yarn that caught my eye from across the room yet again. It called me. There was a siren song to this yarn from across the room, from a company I had never heard of before called Loop Fiber Studio. I got these 2 colorways of yin yang yarn in worsted. Now, can you tell that obviously I like green, and also I'm a huge fan of black and white neutrals and greens. Neutrals, earth tones. Green I still consider like a neutral, but like look at these. Look how cool this marled effect is for this yin yang yarn. And what I really liked about this booth was that they had swatches of all the different colors. So it wasn't just white, it was like different colors mixed with other really interesting combos, and they showed what the swatches look like, and that immediately sold it for me. I was like, oh, this is what it's gonna turn out like. Put it in the cart. So I got 2 sweater quantities. I got a sweater quantity of each colorway. This one is called Yin, and this one is called Sew On. So that was very exciting. Also, I think it's time for another game of Is It Caked? Where the answer is yes all the time. This yarn captivated me so much that I literally bought needles from the sweetest man and his wife. I don't even remember the stall, like the name of the business. I really wish I remembered, because they were the sweetest couple, and it was literally the closing time of Rhinebeck day one, and I was like, I need needles because I want to swatch immediately right now. Literally wound the yarn by hand in the car on the way back to the house so that I could knit a swatch. And the swatch that I was making was for the Ahsoka slipover. And the Ahsoka slipover by Nabita Jure, maybe, of Creatia Studio. I hope I'm saying that right, girl. I'm so sorry if I'm not, but hopefully that's right. Definitely look that up. Ahsoka slipover. It's a gorgeous pattern. And I'm digging into her repertoire and I'm liking what I'm seeing. So I'm gonna be making some more of her patterns as well. So it's a slipover or a vest, and the back of the vest, first of all, let's get into the swatch. Let's get into this marled, beautiful fabric that is created with the yin yang yarn. So the back of the vest or the slipover has this beautiful like faux seam in the back, and I love that. And the front has a very interesting shaping situation where one side opens this way and one side opens that way. So it's kind of like a curtain opening in the front. And so you have to make 2 layers. And I'm working on the top layer now. This one is shaping this way and this one is shaping down. And so this is going to be very interesting. I've never made anything constructed like this. So this has been really fun to work up. Like I said, check out that pattern. Okay, so one thing I didn't talk about were the trinkets and knickknacks and things that I got along the way. So we're gonna talk about that now, and we're gonna go in order. Okay, so first, at CAKEpalooza, one of the wonderful things that I got, let's look at my collection over here, was this beautiful pair of tiny, tiny scissors, tiny, intricate, beautiful gold scissors from Wicked Notions. Very pretty. She's really cool stuff in there. Definitely check her out if you get a chance. And then I had to see my girl over at Black Pearl Magic. I love everything she makes. Like, that, she don't miss. So I got some stitch markers here, the little cat ones, and then these guys that I thought are really, really pretty. And then I got a fiber Barbie keychain. How cute. Now, Shayla also had some bags that were featuring, you know, beautiful Mary Jane plant. And I feel like I'm gonna have to cop that if she puts that in her shop as well. Because again, Shayla don't miss. And I met her and her wonderful husband, and it was just all fun and games. And so very excited to use some of these stitch markers in my projects. So at Wool and Folk, I didn't get too many stitch markers or things like that, but I bought the most expensive thing I have ever purchased at a yarn festival of any kind for Magpie Fibers. And it's this beautiful wax canvas needle holder. It's called, I guess the brand is called Atomic Freedom, but it's beautiful. It like, there's like a closure here. I have it open for obvious reasons. And then this whole case, this whole needle case just unfolds, just unfurls. There's a zipper and it's upside down, and there's a zipper and it holds all kinds of things, needles and cords, I'm assuming, and all like I have so many needles that I need to figure out how to organize. And this was very expensive, but I feel like this is my wonderful hobby, and this is what I want to spend my money on, and to treat the things that I love very well. And so they deserve nice things. And so nice things they shall have. So yes, this was very expensive, but it came highly recommended. So I'm very excited that I got an opportunity to get a rolled canvas needle case from Magpie Fibers. Okay, so at New York Sheep and Wool, some of the knicky knacky things that I got, which were there were lots to choose from, and it was hard to only pick some things. But one of my favorite things was from this business called Wee Ones. I got this super cute Boston Terrier project bag and handmade stitch markers that were also little Bostons. Look how cute they are. So I have 2 baby Bostons, and they are my favorite things in the world. Anyway, I have little baby Bostons, and so this will be really fun for little things I make for them whenever I get back around to it. And I got this beautiful pin from Neighborhood Fiber Co. And oh, so I found Thread and Maple. They had a booth there, and I got this cute little Notions case that's like very small and nifty and very like aesthetic and like has very useful things. Scissors, tapestry needles of 2 sizes, and a little back pocket that I was like, oh, this is perfect for stitch markers. But I didn't know it already comes with a bunch of stitch markers in it. So that was very fun to find out. And I love the aesthetic of Thread and Maple and loved hearing the story about how it started, and glad I got to get another piece in my collection. And then I also got some tatas knit for the girls. This was a fun pin to get. I'm gonna have fun adding this to a project bag or something somewhere. Okay, so those are all of the things and all of my experiences at New York Sheep and Wool Festival, CAKEpalooza, and Woolen Folk. And I hope you enjoyed this roundup of all of my acquisitions and my whips that I have going. So let me know if you like this kind of content and you want to see more of this. Definitely make sure you like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Dr. Charlie Untangled, and I'll see you next time. Bye. This Rhinebeck recap is long overdue, okay? But it's also right on time. I feel like I'm going through a post-Rhinebeck sad phase, you know? Sad girls love yarn. And so it took me a while to get to this. But here we are, all right? Like I said, we made it. Amen.